welcome back to the Social Media Derby. We've got a very special Arsenal transfer podcast today. You see, we've got the Avengers back to all chat about it, so I'll be taking a back seat. But before we get into it, those of you watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop a comment down below. For those listening on audio platforms, please follow, give us a 5-star review if you can. All of it's greatly appreciated. All right, guys, the group chat has been popping off for, I feel like, forever. Mostly about Madueke, but we'll start on the transfers first that have come in. So we've got Kepa's come in for 5 mil. Zubimendi, I've seen it reported different places, 50 mil to 60 mil, including add-ons. So let's just say somewhere in that ballpark. Norgaard for 10 million. And those are the three confirmed. You've obviously got the others that we'll talk about that are Here We Go and Ornstein's drop bombers and whatever else. But those are the three transfers confirmed. Going out, you've lost, well, I don't know, or maybe gained money for Tavares. You've sold Marquinhos. Tierney's left at the end of his contract. Jorginho's left at the end of his contract. Partey, or shall we say, unnamed 30-year-old player, has left at the end of his contract. And sadly for me and Jonts, our boy Tommy has had his contract cancelled or terminated or whatever. So yeah, first of all, I'll start with you, Razor. Are you happy with the business done so far? Because I feel like you're the most upbeat out of the trio. So let's start with you.
Not even the most upbeat. I'm just the least reactive to all of this stuff. I think, business-wise, I think obviously compared to some of the windows that we've seen in recent history, you know what I'm saying? It's we're like, Arsenal, please do something, anything. You know, like the memes where it's the guy with the stick prodding the ball or the tumbleweed being like, do something. But that's not been the case. This season, this window has not been the case. We kicked off, started shoring up positions that I think almost anyone who's watched a decent amount of Arsenal knows that we need coverage in. One of our big problems was squad depth. So I'm not surprised that we're signing players like Kepa, we're signing players like Norgaard. We're not really these aren't people that you're going to look at and be like, ooh, shiny, but they're going to do a job within the system. Is Norgaard going to set the team on fire? No, but is he going to do that backup role that Jorginho did? Cool heads when we're trying to hold down the lead? Probably. Jorginho's gone now, so it's like for like. I'm pretty chill with it all, innit? Obviously, get a Gyokeres confirmation, get a couple other players confirmed. I'm not really. All the social media and the tweets and the YouTube videos is fun. Show me the guy holding up the jersey. What's his squad number? When I see that, I'm more calm. But yeah, no, I'm very I'm chill with the way that things are being done. I think Butter has come in and he's actually trying to make stuff happen. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's is it perfect? No, but I keep saying to him, this ain't FM, this ain't EAFC. You know what I mean? We're not Man City or PSG, so we have to live in reality a little bit. You know what I mean? But I think we're doing all right.
Yeah, I think that's probably quite a level-headed response. Ayo, let's move to you. Do you?
It's going to get less level as it goes.
Yeah, I was going to say this might go in stages, isn't it? We'll end with Jonts for complete head loss, but let me ask you specifically then, because obviously, like Razor said, two of those three signings are more squad depth, kind of maybe rotation based, but also two of those three are in the midfield, coming in for I guess, for Jorginho and Partey. So do you think your midfield is stronger now than it was with Jorginho and Partey, or do you think you're in a relatively similar position?
Oh, good question. No, I think both players compared to Partey, I think Partey is obviously the better player. Obviously, we all know what happened with him, but so I think obviously losing him is still going to be a big loss, in terms of on the pitch. But I think in terms of squad depth, I understand the signings. I do understand getting Norgaard. I do understand. Yeah, Zubimendi looks like a very tidy player. But I just think obviously, you said as Razor said, they haven't obviously set the world alight. But I just think for us, it's more so the fact that we obviously know what we need to improve and what we needed. And so obviously, I think last year we could definitely see that our midfield, once we lost either Partey, especially the Real Madrid ties, or when we played PSG, we didn't have Partey, we'd have replaced with him. You could see the struggle. So I think it's good to have someone like Zubimendi come in. Norgaard, I think, definitely is a steady head. to kind of come in as well and keep things a bit calm. Kepa, I'm not even going to acknowledge that one. I don't understand. Like 5-0 for a keeper, I get it, but I'm not going to, again, Chelsea rejects just don't appeal to me, so I'm not going to allow that. I get it again, I just don't think that's a good signing. But I think my biggest thing with this whole summer so far has been the fact that we've not got any money for these players that we've let go. So as much as I think all these free transfers, obviously mutually terminated and Tomiyasu, I get it because he hasn't played, but I still think we could have got some money from somewhere. He could have gone to Italy, could have gone. I definitely think somebody else does value. Tierney, same type of situation, letting the contract run down. Jorginho, all these players, I think, could definitely got some money to come back in to kind of at least give us some sort of leeway. But I think that's my only kind of gripe. So I'm not losing my head yet, but with I think just in terms of signings, I think it's good what they've done so far in terms of getting squad depth. I think that's where we did struggle last season. But yeah, it'll be nice to have some players coming that kind of get you out your seat type of thing. But we'll see. The transfer window's still got like another 2 months left. Fingers crossed. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, when I was reading out that list of outgoings, I didn't even think like 4 out of 6 of them are end of contracts, terminations, free moves abroad. Only Tavares and Marquinhos got fees, and I think they were both pretty small. Yeah. So yeah, that's Arsenal definitely got a similar issue to my club when it comes to selling players. It seems like a struggle, isn't it? But John's all right. Let loose. How do you feel about these deals so far? Do you agree that with Ayo that the midfield is not greatly improved, not massive difference with the 2 new incomings, or do you think you believe in the Zubi hype?
I mean, so I think it's probably around about the same, but possibly a bit better depending on how Zubi performs, right? Because he's younger. I know we have to incorporate the availability aspect of this, and I think both Jorginho and Partey, mainly Partey, have had a lot of problems with that. So I think from the point of view of availability, I'm hoping both of them, Zubimendi and Norgaard, are more available than the other 2 that we've had previously. So from that point of view, they probably should be a bit better. They're, I think, at least in Zubimendi's case, a bit younger as well. So I think that in that case, we're probably a bit better. But in terms of the talent, I'm not sure yet because, with Zubimendi, you don't really know until you get someone in the Premier League. We've had a lot of people that have come to the Premier League and maybe been not as good as we hoped that they would be when they're coming from outside leagues. And I think if you just look at the type of player that Zubimendi is, I'd argue that the biggest difference between the Premier League and outside leagues is the intensity of the midfield. So, the lack of time on the ball. We've seen people like Casemiro come into the Premier League, who's like considered to be like a destroyer and enforcer in Spain, and he's turned into kebab man when he's been here. So from my point of view, like it remains to be seen as to how good he's going to be. But obviously, I'm optimistic about it. So I think overall it's probably an improvement, and particularly for the long term, if you think about the ages of Jorginho and Partey, it's definitely an improvement because I'm hoping that Zubimendi will be here for a long time. I'm hoping that Norgaard will be able to stay at least for a good 3, 4, 5 years, depending on how old he is, or how he fares as he gets older. But like my biggest problem with all these signings is not necessarily the signings. I agree that they're good signings when you think of the situation that we're in, but it's just the optics of it. When you look at Liverpool buying Wirtz, when you look at Man City buying up all these men, I know that they're not necessarily their first choices and so on, but like they're buying Wirtz, they're buying Reinders, they're buying Ryan Cherky, and we're buying Norgaard. Like that's my biggest problem. So like, I mean, it remains to be seen. I'll let it go. I think Ray has definitely calmed me down in terms of like keep my judgment until the end of the season. But I mean, like, yes, 5 million, 10 million, they're not 2 big sums. But when it comes down to like, it might be 5 or 10 million being the difference between us getting a good striker or a good left winger and getting a one. So if I come back at the end of the season and I see like some average looking left winger and an average striker, I'm going to be livid. Because why have we spent that money on a backup goalkeeper and we could have got another loan off for somebody? Or, I don't know, stop sending Tommy Setford out on loan. I don't know. We could have done something around that. And it's just my question about, like, priorities. I get that, like, squad building, we have to have good players in all positions and so on. But, like, when we've been screaming for a striker, and when you finally convince me that Martinelli might not be the one for the left wing, like, are our priorities in the right places? I will stop now.
I mean, to play as a slight devil's advocate, right? Kepa's an alternative to Joan Garcia, right? I swear that was the goalie that you were kind of looking at as the backup. And he's gone for 20, 25 million. So essentially you've saved 15, 20 mil on getting him. I look at him as probably the most cost-effective approach to that position, because you were going to get someone regardless, right? Neto didn't play a game, barely played a game, cup tied. Don't know why you even signed him last season. So this season you're going to get Kepa. I feel like that's all right. But I get what you're saying. There is the prioritization issue, which we'll move into now when we touch on rumoured, or I mean, some of these are rumoured, but you know they've been here we go, bombarded or whatever. So you've got Madueke been confirmed, or Madueke as Merson calls him, has been confirmed 52 million by Fabrizio and Ornstein. You've got Gyokeres, which again different phrasing, but they're saying agree in principle for base 55 to 63 million. You've got Mosquera, who's been confirmed, or here we go, at 15 million. You've got Eze and Rodrigo that are very much still in the rumour phase, right? They're talking about 60 million for Eze is his release clause, and they're saying like about 90 million euros or 100 million euros for Rodrigo. So considering that, guys, I'll open this up to the floor completely. We'll start with Madueke, because that was the one that really set the group chat popping off. Like, how do you guys feel now after a few days of calm, hopefully, and how do you guys feel about that move? Do you feel any differently than you did when you were going buck wild on the group chat?
They're more angry now than they were before.
Yeah, they look. Both of them look way more angry.
I'm definitely not as angry. As I said, my problem with Madueke isn't like his talent. My problem is the fact he's coming from Chelsea. Like, that's always been my gripe, is the fact that I just don't think we need to keep helping Chelsea in their balancing of their books by signing their. Obviously, he's not a reject, but he's also not there. He's not someone that they consider worthy of being their team. So I think that's always been my gripe. Like, I think he might have talent, and he could turn out to be a good player for us. But I just think spending 52 million on a backup, which is okay, obviously going to be a backup to Saka, we hope. But also, I think the fact we're just helping Chelsea again in their quest to, because they're going to be competing with us this season, no matter what we like. So no matter what, like, it's not going to be the same Chelsea from last year. So now we've helped Chelsea get rid of some deadwood, help them balance their books, and help them sign some more players. So I think that's always been my gripe with Madueke, not his talent, the fact that we're helping Chelsea. So,
and we're paying 55, 60 million for this brother as well. Like, again, I don't want to be harsh on him. He seems like a good lad, and I don't want to like go too much on him. But Barter and Arteta, what the are you not doing? Spending 60 million, 55 million on a backup to Saka, right? On a backup to Saka, instead of spending that 50, 60 million, going and trying to do what Liverpool are doing by unsettling Isak. Instead, we're having to settle for other people, which is fair enough. Like, I'm relatively happy with who we're settling on. But what the are we doing? That is the priority. Like, that came out, that news came out before anything else about Mosquera, about anything about Gyokeres. That's the first thing that we're doing with 50 million in the bank. Spending it on a backup right winger that Chelsea don't like, or not don't like, but clearly are not like prioritising as being a key part of their team. And we're going to go and buy that again after the Havertz deal, after all the stinky players that we bought for them. We're buying their keeper, and now we're buying their right winger who, you know, isn't setting the world alight.
FC. We are Headloss FC.
That's what Headloss looks like.
For starters, man, them have just been blabbering from the moment you gave them the mic, and blabbering. Saying that 5 mil for Kepa's not good business. I'm so glad that you brought up we were going to spend 22 mil on a backup keeper. 22 mil, 25 mil on a backup keeper. But we've gotten somebody who's played at the top level in the Prem, to be who's going there to be the backup. We're not going to have no Ramsdale Riot antics this time, innit? He knows he's there to play second fiddle. 22 mil, 25 mil on a backup keeper. But we've gotten somebody who's played at the top level in the Prem, to be who's going there to be the backup. We're not going to have no Ramsdale Riot antics this time, innit? He knows he's there to play second fiddle. 5 mil. He's not getting unsettled. His kids are going to the same school. That's bad business. That's crazy talk, bro.
How'd you?
Norgaard. Man, no, wait, hold on. Man, I'm moving bare disingenuous, man, being like, oh, Norgaard.
No.
For starters, Johnny said, oh, hopefully Norgaard will be there for 5-6 seasons. I don't. He's 31. Secondly, yeah, man, I'm talking about like, oh, yeah, like we're going and getting this. Do you know how many 30-plus midfielders flipping City have on their books or United have on their books? Bro, like,
And what
he's
happened
there
to
to be
them?
an elder states.
What happened to them, though? Look at
ones on-
Gundogan. He fell off
the
a
one-
fucking cliff. As soon as he hit like
fell off a
34,
cliff.
35,
Wait,
he fell
do
off
you
a
think
cliff.
having- do
All
you
of them,
think
man,
having
the same
Ilkay
things happen
Gundogan-
to all of them.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think having Ilkay Gundogan in the Man City dressing room, talking to brothers like Cherky and Doku, do you think that's a net positive or a net negative for the squad overall?
Of course, it's a net positive, but we're talking about Norgaard.
Thank you very much.
You're
So
not
what I'm
comparing
saying-
Norgaard. You're not comparing Norgaard to Gundogan there. You're not comparing Norgaard to Gundogan.
Right,
Not
so
to
for
Gundogan.
starters, no, it's not about winning though. In this particular situation, we need maturity. We need what was Arsenal's one of the biggest problems last season, apart from injuries. What was our biggest problem? Discipline. How many red cards did we get? How many silly yellow cards did we get? Cool, PGMOL, but like, could our players have been more disciplined? You're bringing an international captain who's captain aside, knows what it takes to bring it. We're not starting fucking Norgaard, bro. We're gonna bring him on when there's 20 minutes left. The games that we keep losing control of. You know what I'm saying? Man are talking about, oh, we're spending 50 mil on a Saka backup. How many times have we been screaming, begging Arteta to bring Saka off?
That's fair, but not from Chelsea.
Madueke plays right wing. He plays left wing. Yeah, he can play as a second striker. For me, squad depth is so important.
Brother in the world. No,
No, I'm just telling you
seen
where
him
he's
play right
played.
wing for Chelsea.
I'm just telling you where he's played. I've only seen him play right wing for Chelsea, yeah. But Noni Madueke, he's not Nicolas Pepe, yeah. He's not someone from another league that we don't know. This is an English player. Man's been playing England under 23s. Like, they've seen him. Do you think the scouts haven't seen Madueke play before? Do you think they only just started watching him when he got put into the Chelsea thing? And the other thing about the Chelsea thing is Chelsea is the gulag. I keep saying this. Bro, man can't... The only comparison I'll accept is Havertz in it, because it's like similar in terms of age and and whatever. Or not age, but like we've bought him and we still expect him to be a core part of our first team, to do stuff in and around the first team. Man are comparing him to David Luiz, bro. David Luiz was a grandfather when we signed him, bro. He's geriatric, bro. It's completely different.
You're
putting your emotions about Chelsea ahead of looking at the team and the player that's being signed.
So you're telling me we
Trossard,
couldn't
like, pushing 30,
buy a Saka backup for less than 50 million?
No, I'm not telling you. I'm asking you, who is that Saka backup? And you know, we talk about Prem proven. I'm not saying Prem proven because the example I always use is Alexis Sanchez. Was he Prem proven when he went United and stunk up the gaff? He was
Let's not
Prem
talk about
proven.
that. This is
We've
Arsenal.
seen him do it.
This is an
So
Arsenal
to me-
pod.
Sorry, boss. Straight. For me, yeah, like, it's not about being Prem proven, but he knows what it takes to play in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So you add that, you add the age, you add the fact that you're buying from local and like places in the league rivals.
But we're helping
and
them.
they bought him for 30 mil. This whole helping them, bro. At what point in the past 6 years, yeah, Chelsea wanted to buy a player and not bought them?
No, but forget that.
What do you think we're helping them with?
But it's just in general.
They bought 14-year-olds from Brazil. Like, hey, listen, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna move mad. They're buying teenagers in Brazil like there's no tomorrow, bro.
100%.
I'm not saying we're helping them. They're signing niggas to 15-year contracts like they're Interscope Records. What do you mean? How are we helping them?
Because we're getting rid of their Deadwood. Like yes, his age is.
Is Madueke Deadwood?
Of course, because they don't want him.
To them, he is.
Keep him. Yeah, exactly.
Is he actually Deadwood?
For them, yeah.
Have Chelsea changed manager after buying all of these players? My man might not get on with Maresca. My man might not like the play style that they're trying to run. He might not like the fact that Maresca might have, you know what players are like? Man might have said, oh, I'm going to play you. There's an equal opportunity to get in the team. But he's not getting in the team. Man might think, oh, I'd rather play back up to Saka and know that I can come in on the left.
Yeah, but you're looking at it from his perspective, right? Of course, it's a great move for him because he's not going to play for Chelsea again.
No, no,
So
no.
of course it's a
You're
great
talking
move,
about
but
him
for
being
Chelsea,
Deadwood. Is
it's
he Cole
also
Palmer?
he's not Deadwood.
Is he
So
Cole
to be
Palmer?
clear, right? So
Of
to be
course
clear,
not.
he's not Deadwood. I'm not
The
saying
only
that he's
player
Deadwood, right?
Chelsea, the only
But
player Chelsea don't
he's
want
not
to
a 50
sell
million
is Cole
pound player.
Palmer.
He's not a 50 million pound player. Number one, right? Number two, if we know that they've got to get rid of people, why are we paying their first price and we're not negotiating with them to get him for 40 million, get him for 35 million? My biggest problem with all of this is the amount of money that we're spending, the position in terms of priority versus the other things that we need, and then the team that we're buying him from, right? So number one, we shouldn't be paying 55 million for him. Number two, our backup right winger should not be the first thing that we're spending a bunch of our cash on, right? And then number three, why are we helping Chelsea of all teams who, yes, you're saying they'll go and buy whoever they want, but we know that they can't sell their women's team twice, can they? So we're going to help them again, give them another 50 million to go and bankroll all the other like, unless we're
Number
paying
one,
it like
yeah.
1 penny installments over 150 years,
You're asking
we're
questions.
helping them.
There's no answer coming. You can't answer.
You're asking questions, yeah. Number one, no, in real quick succession. Number one, again, this is not EAFC, yeah. Just because this is the deal that has progressed the fastest, or this is the deal with the most conclusion to it so far, bro. Every single day, these leaks are online talking about Gyokeres. They've been doing it for over a month, 2 months now, isn't it? Like, that deal is still ongoing. It's just obviously a more difficult deal. And I understand Yuki decided he wanted to blow up the spot and he was like, I'm not coming back. You either sell me or you're going to have to fire me because I'm not coming back. Of course we're going to sit there and go, do you know what? Yeah. 70 mil is looking a bit crazy in the light, bro. It's looking a bit funny in the light, man. Run it for 60, bro. Run it for. We can do that.
So now the negotiation skills come out. Now you turn to Donald Trump saying you're not negotiation. But with Madueke, we're just like, all right, how much do you want for him? 55 million? Sure, here you go.
But that's,
what leverage do we have with Madueke?
The thing with Madueke, that's my thing is, again, the player himself, I get as a backup. My thing is, if he signed straight from PSV, I honestly would have zero complaints. It's the fact that we're saying...
It's just Chelsea.
It's just that is it. And I don't think, because Havertz didn't work out. And obviously, there's a reason, like, no matter, we saw what Havertz was. And we can't say Havertz worked out for us because it hasn't worked out. So I just have zero...
But that's harsh.
It's not harsh. It's not worked. He's a high paid player and he's not delivered. And he was also signed as a left centre mid. He's now our main striker. There's a lot of questionable things.
Thank you, because you're wearing your Niger top. Tell the truth, I made the devil ashamed. He was signed to be left centre mid. A man's been playing 9.
Now we bought two other central midfielders now. So what's he doing?
It's more of a question on his ability because he fails the left centre mid for us.
Depth.
Yes,
He likes players that can play in multiple positions. If you're not Stacker, you don't get to go, I'm playing here, basically. Trossard, you'll play through the middle, you'll play on the left. You'll come on as the super sub for Saka if I tell you. He likes players that will play in multiple positions. So getting a right winger who can play left wing as well, who is left-footed, like our franchise player, does that not follow the ethos that we've been laying down?
100% get it. Just don't get
Kai Havertz was meant to be a striker. I would hear man saying that he's a flop. For 60 million...
Come on, man. He's a flop. We're getting on topic where he's a flop.
Yeah. Let me pose this question then, because it seems like you guys are the only thing that I think you guys are aligned on is that you think he's definitely going to be a backup to Saka, right? The only thing I would ask is, Madueke, if he goes through at 52 million, will be your 5th highest signing in your history, transfer fee wise, right? Obviously, that's prior to Gyokeres coming in. You might say that means nothing, but are we just so sure that you're going to drop 52 M's to keep him as a squad depth and he might not actually be your left wing signing? Because, surely that has to be a possibility, or are you guys just ruling that out? You're going to drop 50 M's on a backup, no problem.
I think
Only head loss FC merchants think that the Arsenal development squad will look at Madueke and look at Eze and be like, yeah, this is the guy that we're buying to be our left winger.
My thing is, I just no, but what Ant said is a very good point. Because again, as much as I want to believe he'll be back up to Saka, but I'm also very concerned he could be actually still getting a lot more game time as a left winger instead of him and Martinelli. That's my concern as well. And if he's starting, which it might work out, but yeah, I don't think he's actually being signed as a backup. I think he's going to deputise if Saka's out. as right winger, but I actually think him and Martinelli. I want Eze more than anything, but I generally think what Anne says. I think for 52 million, I can't see him sitting on the bench every week in, week out. Not a chance. I don't think there's a luxury.
Okay, but does that not make it even stinkier? Because we
no,
bought
100%.
primarily
100%.
right wing, a left-footed
100%.
right winger to play left wing in 2025. This ain't
100%,
Ryan
no,
Giggs in 2000. Why are we buying a left-footed player to play
Can I
left
ask you a
wing?
question?
I agree.
Can I ask a question? Why, do you guys feel like we should simultaneously be comparing ourselves? Like I said, I don't know if it was before we started recording, when Jonty was having technical difficulties upon technical difficulties, but Liverpool are spending close to $250,000 on two players.
Who are walking into the team. Who are walking into the team.
Yeah, but hold on a minute. How much do you think the squad players and the backups are costing the Liverpools, the Man Cities, this, that, and the other? Do you think like a 50? If we want it, like we've got Rice on the bench, he's 100. We've got Rice on the pitch, sorry, he's 100 mil. If we value Saliba, if you value Saka, if someone wants to buy them off us now, how much money are we gonna want in this market? 100 mil, easy, no?
Easy,
like in that region.
Yeah, but look how much that we're spending on a backup for them two players. We're spending 15 million on Mascara. We're not spending 50 million on a backup centre back.
No, but this is
we're spending 50 million on a backup for Saka.
Mascara's only playing right centre back in our system, isn't it? Like I've watched
Regardless,
he's
man,
good. He looks great.
It's one of the most important positions on the pitch, and we're spending 15 million for a backup, right? On a centre mid, you argue again. It's one of the most important places on the pitch. We're spending 10 million on a backup, right? So we're spending 10 million, 15 million on backups for important positions. And then on the right wing, we're buying a £52 million player who has not lit the world on fire from one of our biggest rivals.
I don't like the price. I wouldn't have picked Madueke, but I think when we're buying from Chelsea, as we saw with Havertz, Chelsea, like I said with the Gyokeres situation, we have leverage in that situation because they need to make the money now. My man wants to go. He's made it very clear. We've got leverage. Chelsea have the situation of being like, we don't care if he wants to go. He's on a 7-year contract.
And enter another situation where we've got a good negotiating position.
But then it comes
Why do we have to go for Madueke? Why?
Hold on.
Does that have to be our only option?
In the group chat. Then it comes back to what I said in the group chat, and nobody gave me any answers. Man, we're yelling, and I was doing voice notes. You lot were typing fast. Yeah. Who is this right winger, left winger that can play on both sides that has played in the Prem? And that we're going to get for less than 50 mil. Who is he?
I can't.
No, don't say there's fair options. Who is he?
But what?
Give me one of these options.
That's the point of the scouting department. Why couldn't these other teams find these players?
No, because when you're talking about it, man are like, I want Lookman. But they're first. They want to come in and start.
100%.
They're not going to accept being the second string.
Why are we so confident Madueke is not going to want to start? Why are we so confident?
Every transfer we've done in this window has followed the pattern of we agree personal terms with the player, they talk to blah blah about blah blah, and then we go to the club and start talking about fees.
Maybe.
So he knows what play. Like again, if it's not that, then it's Arteta. That's why I said to you guys, if we're looking at a situation where we're not signing the players that we're meant to be signing, and we've got people that are starting and not starting. We've got Ethan not playing through the middle when Odegaard's stinking up the show, and everyone's talking about right wing. Like,
it's not.
If the management's not there, that's on the head coach, isn't it? But in terms of does this player fit the profile of the squad? I wouldn't have thought of him when I was thinking of who I'd like us to sign. But yeah, overall he kind of does. He's around the right age. He's way younger than Trossard. People have been complaining about Martinelli, saying we need backup for Saka. I get the upsetness about the price, but the upsetness about the price, that's down to the market. I get the upsetness about Chelsea, but that's really neither here nor there. That's just emotional. We don't like Chelsea. Fine. Cool. They just want 100 mil from the Club World Cup, bro. Like, it's what do you want us to do? Like, not sign players because they're at Chelsea? They're not at Tottenham, man.
No, my point is, why are we going after a player that Chelsea themselves do not even like and paying £52 million for them? You're asking me to give you examples
keep saying
of
Chelsea
right
clearly
wingers.
value.
Let me finish my point. You keep asking me to give examples, right, of right wingers that we could have got off the market. Rayan Cherki got bought for how much?
30 million, 35
30
million,
mil,
something like that.
28 mil.
Okay,
That sounds
right?
cheap, yeah.
You see Newcastle, you see all these dons that are going after their first choice right wingers and paying 50 million for them, right? Kudus, Ilanga, whoever else, right? We're seeing these amounts of money being spent on first choice, highly touted players, Ilanga aside, right? From my point of view, to be spending 52 million on a backup that has not lit the world alight at all, right? You don't see anybody else in for him. It's just us, to be clear. And that's why what do you mean when we say we've got no negotiating position? They need to shift players. They clearly don't need him anymore when you consider all the other players that they've got. And yet we're coming in as the only person that apparently is interested in him and taking their first offer for him. That's You're talking to me about it's not EAFC, but if I was the Chelsea manager on EAFC, this is exactly what EAFC is. I ask for 50 million, I get 50 million, and we move on.
The thing is, guys,
Do you feel like there's a precedent between teams in terms of how they sell to each other?
There's definitely
yes, but we're the ones that always
agreement.
get shafted by them, and they always get our
yeah.
best players. They get Ashley Cole. They get. I know he didn't get it directly from us. They get Cesc Fabregas. They get Oliver Giroud. All of these dons that came from us at one point, they apparently go to Chelsea and then turn into the world's best players. Yet everything that we get from them is absolute.
No, I just
PTSD though.
We're talking about different
Chelsea
generations,
signing
bro.
that we've had over the last 20 years. Name me one player that we've got from Chelsea that actually worked out.
Why are we talking about 20 years, John?
And Jorginho, it doesn't count because he was
PTSD.
Yeah, it's true.
Jorginho doesn't count.
I get it.
Havertz was a flop.
David Luiz, Kepa's, he could be all right, but we'll never
But you know
see
what
him
the thing
play.
is? Like I said about this situation, yeah. I don't know in it because I don't work on that side of football media, and I don't know anyone who does work on that side of football. But as far as I know, certain man, if you think about it in the end, you might have a brethren. Yeah, your brethren comes along and he's like, "Yo, I heard you've got like PS5 games that you're selling that you don't want no more," and he's like, "Yeah. I'll do you 2 for 50 because you man are cool." Then there's that you've never really liked, but he lives on the block and you man know each other and you've known each other since primary school. "Oh, I heard you got PS5 games. Yeah, £54 each, broski. £54 each, broski. No discounts."
Yeah.
We're the you that you don't
I'm
like.
sorry, Chelsea don't like us, Johns.
Why are we
want me
buying
to
from
do?
them? Why are we
you
buying
Sam
from
to
them
preach
then?
right now and talk to them.
And
You're
also
acting like we
forgot
have to buy from Chelsea as if they're the only team.
No,
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's a certain amount of time before the window closes. Yeah, man, they want to get a certain amount. They've got a list of things. All the things that we've talked about are things that, as fans, we've all been saying we need, or that are apparent we need. We watched Kieran Tierney play left wing how many times last season? We got injured to the point where we played with 3 left-sided centre-backs in our back 4. 3 left-footed centre-backs starting in our back 4. Brother, please. We need second-string players. Chelsea know we need second-string players.
We
You're
don't need
right.
to
They
spend
do need to
52 million on them.
That's the price that they set. I'm not saying
We don't
I
have
think
to pay
it's
it.
great business. Do I think it's great business? No. But like,
stop it.
them man have
But
looked
guys-
at it. Wait, one thing, Ant, before we move on, yeah. The goalposts keep moving, innit? Because man are saying that it's bad business because it's money that we could have spent on other targets. As I said in the group chat, with the exception of Rodrigo, which was always going to be a Hollywood buy, everything else that you've said that you've wanted in terms of position, we're getting. Players, pretty much, we're getting like 60% of the fan base wanted Gyokeres, 60% of the fan base love Mascara, 80% of the fan base are dying for Eze. So we're getting all of them, and they just signed a player that you wouldn't have signed for a fee that you think is inflated for all of the reasons that I said before. And man are getting stuck on that point and getting upset about that point. And I don't
None
think
of
it's
those
worth the
players
head
that
loss.
you've mentioned are our first choices.
Neither is Madueke.
Exactly. So we're spending 50 million on a second choice, and then as a result, we haven't got money to go and buy our first choice in all the other positions.
Who's
So we're going to
telling
buy
you that?
a
No,
bunch of second and third choice players that we
That's my
didn't
only
actually
thing.
want. We wanted someone
Where
better
have you got?
because
at
of
what point
Madueke.
it's
No,
the
my only-
PTSD that you said in it?
No, my
We've
only thing
flipped in the
is,
transfer market bare time, so the assumption is now, even though we're showing all the intent and having all the conversations, man are losing their heads, and that's why I said give it 2 weeks, lads.
I think that's the thing.
Go on,
I think
Lionel.
I think my thing is, I think if I think, yeah, obviously optically it looks bad. However, I think if he had already signed Gyokeres and Eze, then we signed Madueke, it wouldn't have been this bad. I think the problem is now, obviously, a lot of the fan base are very hesitant now because like now we signed Madueke, and obviously as well, if I'm Crystal Palace or if I'm Real Madrid, if I can see you spent 52 million on Madueke, there's no way I'm taking you offering me a low ball on Eze or Rodrigo. So I think that's the problem. I think realistically, if we sign Eze and Gyokeres from the get go, then we sign Madueke literally mid August. I think honestly, the reaction would have been 10 times different. But I think the fact that we signed Madueke first off, he's our biggest signing now. Obviously, the fan base can be like, so where's the rest of this money coming from? So that's my problem. That's another one of my problems. That's what I started speaking. That's what came back to me. So I think, yeah, I think it's just the time of the sign in, the price of the sign in, and now the concern. Obviously, from PTSD of our transfer market flops in the last few years. That now we don't know whether we're going to get Eze and Gyokeres. That's yeah.
All right, before we get on to the last point, I asked you around Madueke, right? Touching on what Rio talked about and some posters by Versus and stuff like that. I think what you guys say makes sense, though, but I think this signing seems like a bit of a watershed moment because if you go by previous transfers, like squad player transfers, I get what Johnson and Ayo are saying. You historically haven't spent this amount on like a rotation guy. Normally, when you've spent like big chunks, it's on starters, right? Even with the Havertz money, even if he's moved position, ideally he was the left centre mid, right? The Xhaka replacement, and he's turned into a striker, right? But he was meant to be first team. But you do see other teams like City, Liverpool, we do it for fun, spend big bucks on players that are not guaranteed starters, rotators, and squad depth. But it just might be that first time you guys do it, right? We won't know right now. We'll only know in the future if you keep doing it and you see how he performs and if he ends up being a rotator. So you just got to wait and see. But I understand the outrage and I understand the like wait and see kind of understanding approach from Razor as well, because that is the market. You get a steal every now and again if you're Liverpool or a few clubs that move like really, really smart in the window and you find out about a release clause, right? Apart from Tottenham, obviously, or someone else. And then you do that deal for under the value. But it's still quite rare. Most of the time you drop big dollars or that kind of amount on someone for that kind of position. But you'll see. And the prioritization thing, let's be real, is super quick, clearly, because as much as you've all said Chelsea hate you and you hate Chelsea, the guys in the boardroom must be like cousins or brethren or something, because every deal you do flies through. Like, there's no negotiation period. It's super quick. You agree on everything really, really quick, and everything's sorted really, really. Like, I know you've bought like 10 man off them over the last 5-6 years, but still, it happens really quickly. So I think Razor's point on why it's happening before the others is probably true. Like, Gyokeres is doing up Guantanamo Bay, and he's struggling to get out of there. That deal is always going to take forever, and the other ones all seem like quite complicated negotiations, right? Whereas this one, like John said, it was a bit of a FIFA thing where you go into the boardroom and you say, how much do you want for Madueke? They say 50, you say calm, and you've done the deal when he's holding up the shirt in 5 minutes. But you have to wait and see.
He hasn't held up the shirt. We haven't announced this. Both of you have just said, if the club had said this first or done this first, it's not the club, bro. It's Ornstein and Fabrizio and all the wannabes in it. And I hear it in it, but like, the club's getting the negative sentiment. Like, I've seen people like, I know this is very trivial, but the club's posting about like our women's Euros players doing well and that. People are cussing off signings that haven't even been announced in the comments and stuff like that. Like, adds to fan sentiment. You know what I mean? We haven't announced Madueke. I'm sure if you ask the Arsenal boardroom, they'd rather announce Gyokeres, Eze, whoever that they're working on before Madueke. But like Ant said, the deal's gone through. And from my perspective as an Arsenal fan, I'm seeing a lot of Arsenal fans lose their head, abusing a young boy online, cussing each other out, giving Chelsea and Man United and Liverpool fans prime meme material, and the ball hasn't even been kicked in bloody Singapore, let alone in England. That's what I said. We're moving like head lost FC. I hear what you're saying about the price. But that's the negotiation thing. And just to the point about like, if I was Crystal Palace, if you're Crystal Palace, you have to shut your mouth because Eze has a release clause.
Our
problem is that we don't want to pay the release clause the way that they want us to. We're trying to structure it in 5, Klarna style. They want it in 3, like, or whatever, innit? But
this
at the end of the day, you can't go.
Biggest
you paid Noni £60.
this would be the biggest rope-a-dope in history if we have basically said, oh, we're going to buy Madueke for 52 million just so we have a stronger position in negotiating with everybody else. That, I don't think, is what we're actually doing. But if that was the case, and we were doing that just so we can say, you know what, we're skint, mate. We're skint. We haven't got any money for you. You're going to have to take 60 for Gyokeres. I'm sorry. Eze's going to have to come for 50 if you want to get rid of him, blah, 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 right? That would be the biggest rope-a-dope. And if that comes off, I will genuinely sit here and I will bow down and say sorry. That was the case. That was the case.
Not me.
But my biggest problem, again, with all of this, right, is just when you talk about the optics, right, yes, he has not been announced, but it was very clear that every single step of the way, everything has been leaking. We agreed we first were leaked in having discussions with him on personal terms. Then it was leaked that we've agreed personal terms with him. Then it was leaked that we've put in a bid for him. Then it was leaked that they accepted it. At any point, we could have said, you know what, everything's coming out, settle down for a minute. Let's not put in our bid just yet. Let's wait a little bit, see how the Gyokeres one goes, see how the other ones go, and then we'll get to work on that. And not only that, it would put us in a better position negotiating with Chelsea. If Chelsea also saw that we just spent 60 million on Gyokeres and just spent another 15 million on Mosquera and whatever else, it puts us in a position to say to them, mate, I'm skint, I haven't got that much money. How much do you want for Madueke? Knowing that I'm not going to be able to pay 52 million for him. But we didn't. We've done it the other way round, where we spent 52 million on Madueke and then tried to use that as a bargaining position for Gyokeres and Mosquera and whoever else that we're trying to buy. And if that all works out, then fine. I don't really care which way it shakes out. But from the point of view of our club, also has a responsibility to Madueke, right? You talk about the head loss fans. Our board know our head loss fans very, very well because they've been, intimately exposed to them over the last however many years.
Can't do business, or we can't do business thinking about the head loss FC fans.
Well, they should because if they want a player to come in and not get completely abused, then they should understand that, like, if we do something optically terrible, like with the whole Chargy thing as well, if we do something optically terrible, we're going to get crucified for it. So if our PR department has not been fired by the end of this transfer window, I'll have a problem with that as well.
In terms of doing it that way rather than that way, yeah, can we just look at the signings that we're after in other places? So, Eze, basically the franchise player now, Elise is gone, holds a lot of sway. We'll have seen Elise go, we'll have seen Zaha not go, we'll understand what that could potentially do. Do I get loved, by the Homesdale end and never leave the ends, basically? So that's playing on his mind. Rodrigo's like, I'm not happy. My man's here, I want to play over there. They said, shut up and do what Mbappe says. I'm not happy. Gyokeres basically said, brother, I've booked annual leave. I'm not coming work on Monday. I don't know who you put on the rota. We're talking about guys that are driving themselves, whether it's done in a bad way or a good way, they're looking to leave the club. All bets are on them leaving the club. And what I'm saying in terms of leverages, I think Chelsea... I genuinely think the reason that we do business so quickly with Chelsea is because Chelsea go, this is the price. If you're not going to pay it, f*** off. You know we're not going to move. You know we're not going to change our minds. We don't need to sell him. We need to sell someone, but someone will buy it. I read PSG are thinking about breaking the transfer record again for Cole Palmer. Do you know what I mean? Chelsea have players they can sell. They've got a bunch of underage Brazilians that they can sell, bro. Like, I get it, they need to sell players. I don't disagree with you. I hear what you're saying, Ayo. We are helping them. But they could go, Arsenal's money looks the same as Feyenoord's money, looks the same as PSV's money to me. We don't like your jerseys. We don't care about your banknotes. You get what I'm saying? Like... That's where I personally, that's my suspicion. It's all conjecture, but that's where I think the difference in approach
money ain't as long as ours, though. That's the point. They can have Feyenoord's money, but they can have half of the amount that we give them. Right? So I'm cool that if they want to take Feyenoord's money, that like 15p or whatever they can scrounge together to buy in, go ahead. Take it.
Wow.
Man's aiming at Feyenoord now. Why you say me for? All right, let's go on to the last point on Madueke.
Okay, go.
Let's wrap up the Madueke thing, right? So obviously
we knew this was going to be like this.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, Rio posted about kind of supporting Madueke. You guys have mentioned it. He's got quite a lot of abuse, quite open abuse on his posts, on Arsenal's other posts, on everywhere. And Rio's obviously touched on the fact that there's pretty strong racial undertones maybe in some of the criticism. What do you guys think? Obviously, this is sadly something we see quite often in other scenarios, but do you think it's the case with this, or do you think it's just the case of some of the points that you guys have mentioned today about the Chelsea links, the PTSD, the fee, or do you think it's genuinely also, obviously there's things been thrown around about Mandem FC and all that kind of stuff. What do you guys think about that?
I think Rio. Yeah, I didn't think I think Rio's comments was a bit excessive, to be fair. I think abuse I think every fan base, every team in the world is always unhappy. Especially like when you look at United, how much like Maguire was very hounded out. He got abused. Pogba got abused. I think when it comes to fans and teams, everyone's very like partisan. So obviously, if there's something that we will latch on to, especially something like this, where again, as you mentioned, the Chelsea links, the fact spent so much money on him, I think that abuse definitely just comes straight from just people not being happy with the signing. I don't think it has anything to do with obviously with the versus post, where it kind of linked back to racism and kind of how race and like black boys are depicted in kind of like from like TikTok and actually like Mandem FC as we've spoken about. But I think I personally didn't see any like racial connotations or undertones where it was due to the fact that he was a young black boy that's why he's getting the abuse. I think ultimately it came from the fact that, as you said, we signed him from Chelsea, we spent so much money on him, we haven't signed any of our other major targets yet. So for me, yeah, when I saw Rio's comments, I just thought he was just trying to latch on to kind of, again, as you mentioned, like get engagement. I think that was to get himself involved and kind of insert into the whole kind of narrative. But I think abusing football, sadly, it just comes a part of it. Has it been a bit excessive? Yes, but football fans that's kind of what we're known for. We kind of go a bit too far.
Man used we there. That was crazy.
I
He
think
said that's what we're known for. Not me, or
maybe not you, but I think the majority are very impacted. This happened to Antony. It doesn't. If fans don't like you, you're gonna get abused, regardless. Like it just doesn't. Yeah, I don't think it needs to get as dramatic as it's been so far.
Honestly, I hate that brother's got the same name as me. I have to hear stuff like that all the time, and I'm just like, fair enough. All right, but what do you guys think, Johns? Razor, do you agree with Ayo's point, or do you think that there is some connection to the fact that he's a young British black boy playing for Chelsea, going to Arsenal?
I did a lot of yelling in the group chat about this. This was my side of the yelling bit for the Madueke thing, and that. Not unlike Ayo, but very different to Johns. I have actually calmed down since. And do you know what? Yeah, it's GCSE history approach, nature, origin, purpose. I feel like the nature of the statement, I agree with the sentiment, yeah, and I agree with the purpose with which Rio was trying to say it for, to be supportive of Noni, innit? But then you got to think about the origin of the source of the material. Rio Ferdinand is not anyone that we should be going, respectfully, is not anyone that we should be going to for any kind of enlightened insights on any nuanced part of society. Do you know what I mean? Like, the only time I feel like spoken out like in a conclusive way and I've been like, yeah, is when it was about his own brother. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not saying that as shade on him, innit? Like, it shouldn't be black footballers' problem per se to like deal with the racial elements of this, but I think like you just said, Ayo, like he's a black British boy, and as people of colour that grew up in the UK will tell you, innit, like you're English, you're British, and until you're not, do you know what I mean, innit? Like, and it's like I think that feeds into everything, innit? Like, and just like you're saying, Antony got abused. Harry Maguire's gotten abused, you know what I mean? I just think the angle of the abuse and the vim and the vitriol and the way it's been conducted has obviously been done through a racial lens, you know what I mean? In the sense that the same people would probably abuse Declan Rice, but they might make unkind comments about his partner or say stuff about like his social upbringing, his class and this, that and the other, do you know what I'm saying? So it's difficult to chat on, and I think Versus in their post they did a decent job of it when you read what they say and take away all of our yelling and stuff away from it. and like all the tweets. And I think what they're saying is Arsenal fans weren't happy with the signing, and that kind of added to, or went, some of that went through the lens of the noise that has already been around him with the Mandem FC thing and this, that, and the other. And that's what, bro, for me, it's like, why is Declan Rice rapping along to Vibes Cartel and whoever else? Like, oh, Declan Rice and Body Black. Oh, he's so cool. He's so cultured. How come, I was about to say something, man. How come when we're doing, when we do them things, yeah, it's mad. Do you know what I mean? Or it's like, oh, Mandem FC, or oh, he's not focusing on ball. He wants to be a roadman. He wants to be a trapper. And we've seen it. We've seen it with, even when we look at some of our players that get love for how they conduct themselves, obviously Bukayo being one of them. Do we think people still hate on Bukayo, people still racially abuse him, and he's the trope of the good black youth?
Yeah.
Yes, man. No, man. He's got his full Nigerian name there for everybody to see. He talking about Jesus in the interviews, but they'll still do these things to him. Do you know what I mean? So is it a problem that Noni wants to rap and wants to wear bling in his ear and wants to have his hair in a certain way? Listen, for me, the racial element, like everything in life, comes back to that. And if you're black, if you're living in the UK, if you're a person of color, and it's getting worse with the politics that we have across the world, innit? But I was a bit like, you know, I'm being nice to Noni. And then I calmed down a bit. And I think somewhere between the two is fair. But yeah, like I agree with Ayo in the sense that like Rio probably, I don't want to say he was like using racism for engagement bait. And I want to believe that Rio is better than that. But I just think he was misguided and maybe emotional. And football makes us emotional. And all these things make us emotional. So,
Yeah.
John, do you agree? I assume.
I think it's a nuanced issue. I think the number one thing is like it's very clear. You know, obviously I'm not black, so I can't comment specifically on a black player's experience, right? But it's very clear that within the UK, we don't like a certain model of a player, right? It's the rapping thing, it's the wearing bling, it's the showing off your wealth, it's the doing this, it's the apparent lack of focus on football. It's all this stuff, right, that contributes to what I believe is, what I think like a racist trope around if you do any of those things, you're trying to be black or you're trying to do this or you're trying to do that, right? Which is generally not looked upon in a good way when it comes to football or anything in the UK culture, right? Whereas if you look at like certain Asian players like Ji-Sung Park, Son, whoever else, right? They fit into this mold of what I think white English people want a player to look like, which is really, really hardworking, wears their heart on their sleeve, doesn't say much, is all about the game, blah, 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 right? Yeah. And so when you add all of that together, what I admitted to, I think in some of the chats that we've had is, do I think the reaction to Madueke signing for Arsenal is entirely racially motivated? No. But I can only obviously talk from my experience as the fan that I am, not necessarily all the wastemen that are on Twitter, the people that are like faceless and nameless, that are chatting absolute breeze all over the place. But from my experience, like I know I'm not angry about him because he's that type of player or because he's black or whatever else. I'm angry because of the things I mentioned earlier, right? So I think that's my, I guess, viewpoint on how he was received. Do I think we've gone over the top in other ways? Yes, I think it's generally bullying. When you look at like Brennan Johnson, the way that he was treated as well for no apparent reason, where he had to deactivate his Insta and all this other stuff, when he actually ended up being probably one of their most prolific attackers the whole of last season, I just feel like from my point of view, like the bullying has gone too far, right? So my anger, you know, it's misplaced towards him at the beginning when it shouldn't be. It should be fully on Arteta. It should be fully on Bert, or it should be fully on whoever's decision it was to buy a £52 million backup from our biggest rival. But do I think that like the racist tropes and all of the BS that comes out in the media constantly, like when they did the thing about Raheem Sterling having like a tattoo of a gun on his leg and everyone was chatting breeze about that in the Daily Mail or whatever else, do I think that has affected possibly my view on how good he is as a player? Yes. I don't think it can't at this point in time because it's just so constant from every angle. It's so clear that a lot of media, a lot of the traditional media have a very clear viewpoint on those types of players, that it probably has affected me in a negative way to think that he's better than he actually is, right? And if I think about it, I haven't seen him put in absolute stinkers. No, you know, but anyway, but like I don't know No, I'm not talking about Sterling anymore. He was atrocious for us, but he's past it. He's been playing since he was like 16. Like, I need to give that man a break. But anyway, my point is on Madueke, like, has he actually put in like visibly horrible Antony-like stinkers when I've been watching him? No, I haven't seen him put in stinkers. I've seen him not pass when he probably should have. I've seen him and Nico Jackson try and beef over who's taking a penalty. I've seen him do decently all right in terms of like his goal return, assist return, and whatever else. But I definitely haven't seen him be like the Cole Palmer of that team. So when I think about it, like I probably shouldn't be overdoing it and saying like he's a terrible signing, whatever else, because he's not. He's a decent player. I think he'll be a good backup. But my point still stands about the fee that we're paying for him and the team that we're buying him from. So obviously it's a nuanced issue, but I do think race has come into it in terms of how we have rated him as a fan base and as a country. But I would say the immediate reaction to just buying a £52 million backup right winger from Chelsea, it could have been any average winger from Chelsea that we bought over the odds as a backup right winger, we would be livid about all of it. Like if I'm trying to think of like an average Chelsea right winger that we could have bought from past times where we would have a similar reaction. I can't think of, you know what I mean.
If you bought Mudryk, let's be honest, if you bought Mudryk right now, the head loss might be the same, if not bigger. You lose it because he's absolutely pony, right? So I get it.
I'd be with you, man, if we were buying Mudryk. We wouldn't be having this podcast if we bought Mudryk. I would have just cancelled my membership.
But I will. Obviously, like John's, can't speak 100% with authority on anything around the racial kind of conversation around Madueke. But yeah, I think it's hard to separate it from any aspect of life. So because of that, it's probably involved in this scenario. But yeah, Rio versus whoever's kind of getting involved in the conversation, I think it's just like it's a protective element. A lot of our fans do it with like Rashford as well, where all right, most of the criticism for Rashford, as far as I know, has been because he's been and because he hasn't worked hard and because he's been indisciplined as fuck, right? But there will still be people out there that will, because of Ayo mentioned the Pogba situation, Martial, and like times where that racial element has been really prominent in some, and like xenophobic element has been really prominent in the abuse. People are very protective over Rashford. I get it, and I think with this Madueke situation, it's probably like a little bit more like that. And what you guys are saying is true. It's more like the other elements have caused most of the outrage, right? But I guess you can never know. But let's wrap up the Madueke chat. We've spent ages on it, which I knew was going to happen anyway, right? Let's quickly just talk about Gyokeres then, right? Because as time of recording, we're talking. It hasn't been confirmed, but it says it's agreed in principle, and the transfer tap-in dons are all saying different things, right? You bastards. But there's also, I'll show your parade a little bit now. There's rumours that Liverpool are in for Isak for 120 M's. So if that Isak deal goes through, are you guys still going to be doing up Bane settings or what? Like, you still happy with Gyokeres?
I'm going to be doing that one, mate. I'm going to be gutted. I'm going to be gutted. Oh,
I think it comes back to disappointment with the club. I think it comes back to disappointment with the club there, to be honest. Because I don't think this Arsenal board, but even if it was completely down to Arteta, I don't think Arsenal are ever dropping 120 to Newcastle on Isak. I think they would have been stubborn about it. I don't think they would have done it. So I would be disappointed with the club. It wouldn't make me feel any differently about the players that we had signed instead. But I don't think they would have turned around. Because I think that's the thing. I think ultimately they have like a rough valuation and then there are other factors. And they're kind of like, we're either here or we're not here, innit? And this is obviously, without going back to the topic that we just discussed, that's where like a lot of anger comes from. Because it's like, it's not even anger, it's disbelief. It's like, raw. You didn't think my man was worth this, but you thought my man, you were okay with them charging this for my man. So I understand a lot of rage there, especially when, by all accounts, Isak seemed like he really wanted to come to the carpet at one point. But offering a slightly different perspective, I agree with the original answer. I would be like, who's this guy? But availability is a big problem that we've had in the squad. I love Super Tomiyasu. I'm so sad. I don't think I've ever been so that sad to see a pair of fullbacks go on a free or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? I love Tomiyasu. I think he was great. I love Tierney. I think he's great. Um, Not available enough over their career. And we have so many players like that. And I think after needing a niner centre forward for so long, marquee signing, spending that much bread, him being out for like 14 weeks and us having to play Havertz in the nine and Marino again, I think that would also send me into Headless FC as well. Um, I just don't know. I don't think anyone can say Isak's not 100 plus, 120, 150 mil striker in this current market. But there are reasons why I could maybe be swayed back to understanding why you wouldn't want to spend 150 M's on a striker. You know, if Haaland's available, you might free up the budget. But based on the availability, I love Isak, man. I think he's a great player. But availability, injury issues, I think they might have just pushed. Newcastle didn't want to sell him in it, so I think they pushed the price, the asking point, past that threshold. And I think we got scared. So I wouldn't take it like we got robbed. We didn't get our chain popped off. Do you know what I mean? But Liverpool with Isak and worked. Man, I might just go to supporting NBA full time, man.
I think,
Yeah.
from my point of view, like,
It's rough.
I'm in a similar place with that. Where, like, number one, it's a very big if as to whether Liverpool get Isak, right? Like, for 120 million, that's 30 million below the reported asking price for Isak, right? They're asking for 150 million for him. And it looks like, at least from what I can see, Isak is not going to kick up a fuss and say, you know what, I'm not playing for you. He's not going to do like a Odem Wingy and go and sit outside of Liverpool Stadium, go and sit outside of Arsenal Stadium until they sell him. He's not going to do a Gyokeres, right? He seems like a respectable brother. He's not going to do any of that. So from my point of view, 120 million is not going to be enough to get him, right? Like, if he was doing that and saying, you know what, I refuse to play for you unless you sell me, I think there's a possibility that Newcastle have to take 120 because, you know, what else are they going to do? But from my point of view, it doesn't look like he's going to do that. So I think that they're going to get pushed. If Liverpool really want him, they're going to have to pay 150 million for him. And then when I look at it, I go back to what Ray said, which is 150 million is a lot of money to be spending on a player. The only upside I can think of is once you've spent 150 million on a player, you are going to give that man 3 seasons at least before you think about swapping him for anyone, right? So you get consistency. You know, he's going to have to be like, it's good to have players in your team that you know are going to play, like a Rice, like a Saka, like a Gabriel, like a Saliba, like a Raya. It's good to have those, like, that backbone of your team that you know, okay, these are the talents I've got. I'm going to build my team around this. And when you spend £150 million on a player, you've basically made that decision for your team now for the next 5 years plus. You have to, unless you're Man City and then you just throw Grealish to the side. But like, from that point of view, that would be the only upside I can see because, yes, availability is a big thing. Just the fit, you know, like, you never know if he's actually going to fit into our team. We're a very different team from Newcastle. They play a very different type of football that we do. They also play against teams that play a very different type of football than the teams that we come up against, right? It's mainly low block FC. We're not giving people the ball for 60% of the game and saying, you know what, I'm going to break on you. We don't really have the players for that to do that anyway. So it's a very different type of talent that Isak's going to have to really break through. Am I saying that he doesn't have that? No. I think actually of any striker on the market today, and even though he's not really on the market, I think he's more equipped to do that than Haaland. He's more equipped to do that than most players, just because of how good he is on the actual ball and technically when it comes to striking it, making space, and so on and so forth. But from my point of view, like, 150 million is a very big risk. I also think it would severely limit what we would be able to do anywhere else as well, because I think that Newcastle not only going to ask for 150 million, they're going to be asking for a large chunk of that up front. Maybe not like 100 million or whatever, but they're going to be saying, you know what, you've got to give me 50 million up front, and the rest maybe we can talk about instalments, which is a big, when it comes to PSR, that whole instalment thing and the Chelsea thing that they do and amortizing it over 10 years and whatever else, that seems to be the key to all of this. And I know that Newcastle are not going to be like, yeah, we'll take 20 million now and then you can pay the rest of it over the next 5 years. they're going to be saying, pay me my money right now so that I can go and unlock my position to go and buy Ekatike or whoever else. So if it comes down to it and Liverpool go and spend 150 million on him, number one, how the f*** they got that money? Number two, would we ever had a chance to spend 150 million on him without completely crippling the rest of our transfer window? It's probably not. And then number three, is our version of him, the one that we're going to go and get in Gyokeres, like that much worse? Yes, I think Isak's better, but I'm not like Gyokeres is not like. I'm trying to think of that lead striker, that Patrick Bamford. He's not like some Patrick Bamford that's just going to come in and for us or something like that. Right? Like he's still a good striker. He's got 68 goals in 66 appearances. Like he looks like he's half handy. So I'm not going to be overall heartbroken, but there's going to be like a very childish, immature piece of me that's going to be like, I would have loved to have seen him do that to Van Dijk in an Arsenal shirt.
That's what my point is. Imagine Isak wheeling away with number 14 on his back and doing that. Like that would have been the joy that would have brought to my life for many years to come. Like I said, yeah, agree completely wholeheartedly. It's a lot of money, but I think he is. I think honestly, I don't think there's a striker more ready-made for Arsenal than Alexander Isak is. Like even when he was at Sociedad, before he went to Newcastle, he was I think he was the striker that would have just made our team. Yeah, he's a missing piece. Obviously, I completely agree. 150 M's are a lot of money, but I think when you know, and I think he's someone that's just he has it as well. I think like the way he came into the Prem, I think he's always been someone that you could just tell believes in himself. Like for example, that goal against Everton, not even the goal, the assist against Everton when he dribbles down the touchline by himself the entire way, gets in there and passes it across the goal. I think is what Josh Murphy or Jacob Murphy, whichever twin it is. And he's just
Josh Murphy.
Like his talent level was off his talent level was off the scale, and I think that's my problem. Obviously, it's like Gyokeres. I'm happy with Gyokeres as well. I think you can't beat anybody that knows what the goal is. Like you need to know having a striker that actually wants to score goals. He's just an out and out number 9. And if we get it for 60 mil as well, it's not a bad price to getting a striker in this current market for 60 mil. That'd be actually a pretty good price for a striker. So I'm not going to be sad. But I think if I see Isak in a Liverpool shirt, because I just know I can already see the script already. We go to Anfield. It's Isak versus Gyokeres. Isak's grabbing a hat-trick against us for some reason. I don't know why.
He always scores against us.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I mean. And so I already know what's gonna happen. The head loss FC again will come out that game because it'll go straight back to this is why you should have signed Isak over Gyokeres. And understand, and you know what? I'll be in that head loss FC. I would be one of the people tweeting that exact same thing, saying this is why you signed Isak. As much as I'd be happy with Gyokeres, but it will be tough to see him. But I get why we couldn't have gone for him. But it'll definitely, I think Isak should have been one of our first signings, like, even before he went to Newcastle. I think he was ready-made. And I think he just looks like Henry. And I just imagine him that number 14 shirt on the back of his shirt. And yeah, it's gonna hurt a bit if Liverpool do manage to, like, time.
If they get him for 120, I will be back in Headloss FC permanently, by the way, because if he does end up saying, you know what, I'm not playing for you, I want to go Liverpool, and as Ray said, he's expressed interest in coming to us previously, and we could have done arguably the same thing for him. Then I'm going to lose it. If they spend 150, like, all right, cool, whatever, 150. But if they're spending a 120 on him, and Newcastle just have to say, you know what, I'm going to take it on the chin because he doesn't want to play for us anymore. Then I'm going to lose it because, like, for 120, if we had saved, let's say 20, 30 million on our backup right winger, we could have entertained that.
I knew exactly where this was going.
Yeah,
I knew exactly where it was going.
It all goes
but
back
if
to
it's
Madueke.
even at 120, I think if you're saying Gyokeres plus, I think, do you know what it is? I don't even think it's about the price that Liverpool could or couldn't get him for. I think it's what we do with the comparative amount of money, because we've shown that we're on spending money in this window. Like, we've gone out and got players that should help the team up, but is it like that marquee landmark signing? I don't think.
No.
Apart from like the rumors around Rodrigo and obviously the need for the number 9, I think Gyokeres is filling a role that we need necessarily, rather than being a superstar that's coming to the team. And it's like, maybe if you look at the money on a board and you're like, right, we got this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy for the same amount of money that we would have spent on Isak. As much as I love him, as much as everything that Ayo said, I completely agree with. I think we should have tried to get him before. We should have got him before Newcastle got him. We should have got him when he was like just leveling up at Newcastle before they got the Saudi money in.
Yeah.
If you type in Isak's name on my Twitter account, it's literally just me begging and crying, like in the Arsenal account, complaining when we play Newcastle when he bangs a goal against us, just being like, this should have been us.
Yeah.
But
So you're saying
like,
that only
at the end of
when
the
we
day,
do Del Boy mathematics will this look good?
I don't think it's Del Boy mathematics to be like, all right, cool. In this window, Liverpool spent 130, 120, 140 mil, whatever it ends up being if they get him on Isak. In this window, Arsenal spent 140 mil on Zubimendi, Mascara, this was like, do you know what I mean? Like, it could get a bit Del Boy-y because you could choose to include Madueke as part of that, for example, as opposed to other players. Do you know what I mean? It's all objective, isn't it? But I think overall, like, oh, man, like I said, I watched Kieran Tierney go and play left wing for us multiple times last season, innit? Like, for
It's
me,
really
squad
stuck with
depth,
Razor.
bro, because I love Kieran Tierney, bro. I love him, but I'm at the Emirates.
He's not a left winger. I'll put it
Confused,
that way.
fuming. Why are you bringing on KT?
No, it's
You
true.
took
it's
off a
true.
goal threat for Kieran Tierney. So for me, squad depth is screaming at me. And even people are being like Ethan, you know, Eze, like these are players that I'm really excited about because the way that we play, it will open it up more, I think, and we'll have more options. We're getting some of the stuff that we didn't have. And as much as I rate Isak, I think having that across the team might be better squad building if we're chasing what we're supposed to be chasing.
So I want to pull you up on that right? Because you made an interesting point there, and I want to get Anthony's opinion on this first, and then the rest, right? If you are Liverpool, if you are Man City, you know, I'm not even going to include Chelsea in this, even though they're going to run round this year saying that they're world champs. For the next 4 years, they're probably going to say they're world champs with that little gold badge on their shirt and all that, right? But if you're one of them, Anthony, and you look at our signings,
I wish.
do you look at them and do you say that's a signing to get you to the title? Like,
You know
any
what,
of the
yeah?
signings that we are outside of Rodrigo, because that's like probably the furthest one away. But like any of the other signings that we've mentioned today so far, the ones that have gone through and the ones that are rumored, do you look at them and like not scared necessarily, but do you look and think, oh, that's a team that's real serious about winning the league next year?
So there's two transfers that, for me, stand out or don't follow that trend. I guess the fees do, but the type of player and the hype around them doesn't follow the trend. Rodrigo's the obvious one. You guys mentioned it already. That will be like a Galactico type, run it back, Ozil, Aubameyang type signing of years gone by where you've gone big, yeah? The other one is still Gyokeres because remember, guys, don't forget, we're talking Gyokeres and Isak now, but the Isak links for you guys have died off massively. It was Gyokeres and Sesko forever. And if you'd have got Sesko, then I would say your signings look very TIFO, you know, the Athletic, TIFO podcast, smart signings type players, right? The ones where they've done Moneyball and looked at stats and said this is the right player to get in, and not the ones that are going to really appease the fans, right? And I compare that with Liverpool's signing. If they get Isak, then they've gone the complete opposite way. They've got Isak, one of the best strikers in the league. Wirtz, one of the best young cams in world football. They've got Gyokeres, one of the best left backs in the league. They've got Frimpong, one of the best right backs in world football. And they've got that Georgian youth in goal that's been one of the best goalies, right? Or young goalies. They've gone complete opposite direction. So I would lean towards, obviously, being uneducated, going for those big names, right? But we've seen bare examples where that TIFO smart sign-in type squad building can get you really far. And I would argue that majority of your squad building up until now has been along them lines. Rice aside, you guys were angry about Ben White. Razor brings it up all the time, but he's ended up being a good signing. Ramsdale, before Raya came on the scene, you guys really liked him, right? Apart from a couple of gaffes. even the Raya signing, a lot of these ones are not like, they're not earth-shattering names, but they've ended up building you a really strong squad. So with that context, I wouldn't rule you out, but I definitely would say Liverpool are clear, and I would probably even say City's signings look arguably a bit better, if not pull them back closer to you in second place with what's done with those guys. If you got Isak, and you got the Rodrigo, then I would say Arsenal are about it next season, and you know, first place should be what you're aiming for. So I don't know, man. I think if I was an Arsenal fan, I would understand why being a little bit underwhelmed by some of the signings. If you see Liverpool doing a madness, it makes sense. But I would just be a little bit more optimistic, maybe that these signings could be really smart ones that are going to go under the radar.
And how are you feeling about the Madueke signing? If you're a rival fan.
No, I mean, I think, who was it? Ayo saying that you guys have created memeable content. I love it. It's been amazing. I mean, all the like graffiti on your artwork, like people saying Arteta out because of this. People have lost it. You've seen pinned chats where people say get Arteta out because of this transfer. Like it's been gold as a rival fan. But if I was an Arsenal fan, I have to be honest, I'd be more on head loss FC than try and be smart, because the Madueke one, I still have a suspicion that he's going to be your starting left wing for that price. I think history makes me lean more towards that than squad depth. So no, I love it. Thank you, and thank you for. I mean, the signings created this episode. We've talked about the other signings, but 55 minutes of the 1 hour and 16 minutes has been about Madueke. So let's be real. This would be a snippet otherwise.
100%. I think the thing as well, going back to the signings as well being marquee and stuff like that, I just don't think, as much as I want to believe that we're going to challenge the title next year, I think seeing the way City and Liverpool strengthen, I just don't see us. I think our two best chances were the past 2 years. And I think now that's gone. I generally don't think, as much as I want to believe that we're competing for the Prem next year, I just don't think, even with Gyokeres, with, Madueke, hopefully with Eze, as much as I want to believe we're going to be competing for the title, I think Liverpool and City are definitely still now a level above. And if not, then Liverpool were a level above last year. Now I think with their signings now, if they get Isak, I definitely think they're a lot better team than what we are. And City obviously are going to come back with a vengeance. And I think as we'll be competing with Chelsea, I think just to hopefully hold on top 4 place. So I think we should obviously still get top 4. But I just don't think, obviously, as much as I see what you mean by like it's good to spread the money around, but I do think also there's a lot of merit to having that one signing that just kind of strikes fear into another team when they see you line up, and when you see that team sheet and the same, and that's what I don't think we have yet. We don't have a player that's going to strike fear into the other team. Like Isak, as much as 150 M's is a lot of money, you have him on that lineup. Having Isak and Saka on that lineup will strike fear into many teams when they line up against us. That's a lot of things for them to think about. And I think Gyokeres is going to do amazing. I think Gyokeres will be a very good signing. And I really hope he's going to be the number 9 that we're looking out for. I just don't think, I don't think we've done enough this summer to be like, we're going to be competing for the title next year. And I think that's like the biggest, that's the saddest part of me, is just how close we are. I think we just need a few more pieces. I don't think I'm still yet to think we've got those pieces. I don't think we've got those pieces yet to say we're going to compete with Liverpool and City next year, especially if Liverpool get Isak. So that's my biggest concern going forward.
Wow. I didn't think you'd say that, because I get it. Every summer, like, you don't stand still, right? People buy players and their teams change, but you've essentially been the second best team in the league by varying distances, nip and tuck, like 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, last season by a fairly big chunk by the end. But by the sound of it, it sounds like you're going to take steps back, right? So surely, if you don't finish second or higher, that is a step back, right? I guess unless it's a 3-horse race separated by a couple of points in the last game, then I think maybe there's some merit in, or the idea that third could still be progress or staying similar. But That's a lot. That's a lot of pressure, man. It's
Yeah,
all
it
on
is.
him. Then he's got to get it done.
I'm going to say one thing though, and I might live to regret this, but I don't think City's window is in anywhere near in Liverpool's echelon. And I'm talking without Isak. Just right now, I like Cherky, but there's still a lot of, I'm not going to say attitude issues, but there's still a lot of like fit issues as to whether he fits in that team or not and can play under Pep. I like Nori, but we're talking about a fullback from Wolves. We're not talking about, we're not talking about the best fullback in the world necessarily, right? I don't even think he was necessarily their first choice either anyway. So when we talk about like City's window, I'm not putting them in the echelon of like, oh, they're definitely going to be back and this, that and the other. I like Reinders too. Big up, like, was he half Indonesian or whatever? Like, go on, mate, fair enough. But I'm sorry, he's not like a, I don't know, like a Steven Gerrard to Chelsea type signing where I'm going to be like shaking in my boots that they're going to be so good now. So I'm not putting them in that category. But from my point of view, staying the same in second again next year is going backwards, because Chelsea are coming. Even if Man City can't sort it out all in this window, they're going to sort it out if you give them 3 more. So from my point of view, like if we stay in second and we don't make significant improvements to our team now, and we can't get a title within the next 2 years, the Salibas of the world, I'm not saying Saka, but the Salibas of the world, the Gabriels of the world, like all of these players that we really, really want and need, they might not be here forever. And at the end of the day, like we're playing against time when it comes to their contracts, right? It looks like we're going to get Nwaniris over the line and whatever else. But if we want to be keeping like our position in terms of getting really big players to come to us after what I would consider to be like a 10, 15-year period where we couldn't really convince players to come to us, right? Like we talk about the Ozil signing, but let's be honest, that's the biggest signing that we've got, and even that wasn't like some Haaland type signing or necessarily in the Isak bracket, right? So from my point of view, if we want to stay in this bracket of being an upper echelon of football and being one of the most desired clubs to go to, we've actually got to win something. And not an FA Cup, not a Club World Cup, not a Charity Shield, not a Carabao Cup. I'm talking big stuff only. I'm talking big things, right? Premier League, Champions League only.
Massive pause.
Anything that has a league behind it, I'll take it. Right? We're not in the Conference League, we're not in the Europa League, so I can X them out. But if it's got a league in the second part of its name, I'll take that. But that's what we need to have to be able to keep Saliba, to keep Saka, to keep all of these other dons. Because if we rely solely on loyalty, I'm sorry, there's no loyalty in football anymore. So these guys are eventually going to look elsewhere if we can't get it over the line. And that's my biggest worry about our signings. They're good if Liverpool were doing typical Liverpool things from last year and the year before. But now Liverpool are on Galactico, Real Madrid, Florentino Perez settings. We need to be doing a bit more. So I'm happy with Gyokeres. I think he could bang. And if we've got to bet on all of these players to like overperform versus how much we paid for them, I feel like that's a risky decision to make.
It's mad that I can agree with you both so much in terms of what you think about like this season and what would be a step back and what would be a thing. I'm just confused about like, as I said, past 2-3 seasons, like you've consistently been the also rans, the runner up, the bridesmaid, whatever you want to call it. But like these are teams with the players that we've been talking about being unconscionable, do you know what I mean? Like doing that with Ramsdale between the sticks, doing that with Havertz or Marino as your top choice for number 9. I don't know, innit? Like, I think Isak is the tipping point. I think, as Lorna said, like, if Liverpool get Isak, then I think it makes the window look very,
exactly,
like unbalanced. You know what I mean? Without that buy, I'm not like gonna be here and be like, oh, I don't think we're gonna be in contention again. Like, you take one of the best defensive sides in like Europe's top 5 leagues. We scored like a ridiculous amount of goals from set pieces. Like, our set piece takers are still there. Our Gyokeres coming in, like, is he a factor? He's not really an aerial threat, but like, it wasn't like Havertz or Marino was banging the headers from corners. And anyway, it's our centre backs that were doing that. It's our DMs and stuff like that were crashing the box. So I think in terms of the way that we play, I think we're in a good position to build on what we've done. And I agree with Jonty in the sense that, like, City, I think City are a little bit confused, you know. I think they're actually just like, right, we need to get back to where we were, and they're dashing the money about. But it doesn't have the same, I completely agree with Jonty. It's not giving the same feels as Liverpool being like, yeah, you like that Florian you? Teching him. Gyokeres, you think he's wavy, right? Teching him. It's not giving the same thing. And I think Ryan Shirky and Pep is problems waiting to happen, to be honest. So I think City might have a bit of a mid-season meltdown. I don't really worry about them as much as like Chelsea and of course Liverpool. But yeah, I think Isak going somewhere else in the Prem. I think wherever he goes, it's going to tip the balance. Do you know what I mean? If he's not coming to the carpet, the best place for him to do would be the best place for him to go would be to fuck off. Go somewhere else. Go Madrid.
Yeah, go Real Madrid.
I don't care. Like, just go somewhere else. Don't be here, innit? Exactly. Because it's definitely going to switch the balance, innit? And if it's not in our favour, I don't want to hear about it. Like, I think if Newcastle keep Isak, yeah, Liverpool have made some good signings. It's not worrying me particularly. Like, they were the best team in the Prem last year, innit? So for me to be more worried about them, they look comfortable winning the league last year. Do you know what I'm saying? For us to be more worried, you know, okay, they replaced their fullback who can play a sat-nav pass from anywhere on the pitch with a fullback who'll probably actually defend. You know what I mean? Like, they're not gonna have somebody like Vert starts, but who does he start for out of their midfield three? Who's dropping out? You know what I mean? Who's getting less game time? It's like it's interesting, but it's not like terrifying to me. I think when you add Isak, then it becomes like, allow it, man.
Looks good on paper, right? It looks good on paper, right? The Liverpool stuff. Like I'm like we mentioned before recording. Like I'm gonna be watching Bert's like a hawk for everything he does wrong and then pointing it out. And I think old Frimpong's gonna struggle because I actually think defensively he's not that great, but he'll do a lot going forward. The Gyokeres one is the 30 one. Like we've seen him, we know he's gonna absolutely slap. But if a left back ends up being your best signing of a window, normally that means your window hasn't gone the greatest, right? But yeah, I hear you. It's going to be tricky. So let's wrap it up. Before we finish, though, we talked about Gyokeres a little bit, but it was more about the Isak stuff. What's an acceptable return for him this season, right? Regardless of what happens with Isak, regardless of what happens with other signings, what number? You can do GA if you want to be a little bit shook and don't want to just give me goal stuff. But if you just want to give me goals, what's an acceptable? Yeah, GA for strikers. That's some chem stuff. We have to keep it goals, right? What's acceptable? What's an acceptable return for you, man? For Gyokeres? Feel free, anyone.
15 to 20.
I'm a madman. You know. I'm gonna say 20. I want 20.
Yeah. Like I think. Well,
I just don't think. I don't think though that we'll we spread goals around a lot. Like if you think of like our key periods with like Saka scoring quite a lot, Martinelli scoring quite a lot, some of our midfielders scoring quite a lot. I don't know if we're the type of team that has like a 25 goal striker. So I think 15 to 20 is, from my point of view, for the amount of money that we're touted to be able to buy him for, I think that's reasonable.
I think he actually gets 20. Not easily, but I think he creates so many chances, and I think that's the first time we're going to have an actual striker. And so I think if like we saw Marino, like the fact Marino could get goals up top for us, I think it shows that we create chances. And I think now we actually have a striker that's going to be in the box looking to get goals. I actually think we're going to create many chances for him. And yeah,
but what would you say is acceptable though? Like if that doesn't come true, what would you say is like you're happy with? Yeah, like what's the minimum he's got to get for you to be like, okay, this wasn't a terrible signing?
Oh, minimum at least 15. At least 15, but I'd still be disappointed because knowing that I think Marino got at least 10 last year, and he just came as a makeshift.
Was that goals or goal involvements?
No, I definitely think he must have got maybe got 8 goals.
No, because Havertz was our top scorer and he got like 9.
Oh, that's pathetic. Oh God, I'm
that's where we were.
What the actual year was. Maybe. No, but I think, I think definitely 15 minimum. Just, I think he's an actual number 9. He's actually going to be in the box looking for goals. He knows what the goal is. And I think we create enough chances. So I'd be happy with 15. If he gets less than 10, then I think then he's actually had a very, very terrible season. Yeah, but yeah, minimum at least, for sure.
All right. So it sounds like you guys are pretty much all aligned. 15. What you think more, Razor, or what are you saying?
Personally, like the minimum, maybe I could hear the GA stuff if we're talking about like the minimum, like he has a shaky start, like I want 20 goal involvements. But no, like the minimum is 15. Like you're supposed to be a head back clapper. You're meant to be an on it guy. Like you're meant to, bro. Like Mikel Merino was a backup left-sided defensive midfielder or whatever. Come and start playing 9. Like Ayo said, got 7 goals. You know what? I don't even just want him to get goals. I want to see Saka breaking assist records. Do you know how many times that we've seen Saka's crossed in the low ball, the early one, and where's Havertz sticking his hand on the left wing, having a chat with Martinelli over there, like doing some shit. I love Kai, man, but brother's never in the box when he's meant to be in the box. I expect Yok to be in the box. If you don't get 12 goals, I might join Headloss FC. You get what I'm saying? 15 bare minimum, but I want to see 20.
Yeah.
I want to see 20 or 40. Portuguese league or nothing, yeah. If you're banging 39 goals in a season, brother, we'll put you in the positions. Score. Just lick it. You don't need to move, get your shot off, just one shot. If we had a striker that was doing that, I reckon we would have scored another 10, 15 goals this season. My man is them 10, 15 goals. Yeah. Honestly, I will come back and start screaming Arteta out if my man finishes the season with like 9 goals. That's me spray painting murals outside the Emirates, brother. I'll go nuts.
In my mind, that's the only way he doesn't. The only way he doesn't hit 15 is if Arteta fucks him up and he does something with the system. Because I get it, he scored 39 or whatever. I know a bag of those are penalties, but you guys, like you mentioned it, you create so many chances which you haven't had a striker who's been able to finish. So if you put him in those positions, he should really come away with 20, all things considered. And if he doesn't crack 10 or he's like floundering around between 10 and 15, something's gone wrong with the system. Something's gone wrong with the way they're trying to play. And so it can't be done unless that goes it goes wrong and Arteta starts putting him at left back or something like that. But anyway, let's wrap up the pod here, guys. It's been
Never say never. You know Arteta loves play. You know left back, right back's his favourite position to play other players in, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. And the pathway to you guys just mentioned it. The pathway to striker has been left centre midfield striker. So who knows? Maybe you might see Zubi up there. You might see someone else, Norgaard, playing centre forward.
Let's make a bet that Madueke is going to play fullback at least once this year.
No.
Did he freeze right now?
Did he? He froze on the Madueke.
You froze at the pivotal point.
Okay, wait. Let's make a bet that Madueke is going to play fullback at least once this year.
That is crazy. I could see it.
All right, I'm not taking that bet. I'm not taking that bet.
Unfortunately, I could take it, but I could definitely. There's actually a world where I see that happening. There's actually a world where I see that.
Chargy at right back and Tierney at left back in the same game. I'm not taking that bet.
All right, and on that bombshell, we'll wrap up the pod. Cheers, lads. It's been a good episode. Big love to Madueke. He's definitely gonna have like a million hits on his name in this episode and the clips. But I think you guys did a pretty good job. Not too much head loss. So I feel like the couple of days between the group chat and the recording's been a good idea. Yeah, but thanks, guys. Thanks, Johns. Thanks, Ayo. Thanks, Razor.
There you go.
So, yeah, we'll have one of these versions. We'll have one of these versions with the United fans. Don't worry, soon coming. Cheers, guys. Take care.
Cheers, everyone.
Love, brother.